Welcome, everybody, to Leighton's Loft weekly podcast, right here every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time with my co-host and my wingman, Lou. How are you today, Lou?
How are we doing today? What's going on?
Oh, very well. Very well here. Very happy to be out and about during the day, as many of the folks who follow Vintage Breaks think of me as a vampire because I do a lot of the breaking late at night.
Yeah, every time I do my last check on social media or my last check with the internet, and your face always comes up.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a good thing. So thanks to everyone out there from Vintage Breaks, from Just Collect, and friends of folks who like Just Collect and Vintage Breaks, and of course everyone in between. Thanks for joining us here for Leighton's Loft weekly podcast. You can now find us, if I'm not mistaken, Lou, on top of everything else, on Apple.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts came through. We got that all set up. So we're available on Apple audio only, of course, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Those are the big three, and about a half dozen other places wherever you shop for your podcasts. So go check it out.
Excellent. So, as folks are kind of getting to know us here at Leighton's Loft podcast, some of us, some of the folks out there know me from Just Collect and from Vintage Breaks. So what I wanted to try to do is bring back a little Vintage Breaks flavor this week, and we've been able to do that with a little bit of cooperation from our Vintage Breaks community. And so generously, we've had a few folks buy out and donate a 2019-20 Elite Basketball hobby box that just came out, 20 packs, possible Zion, Ja Morant autographs. Now, Lou, I know you're not an NBA guy, but you're a free guy.
A free guy?
Who doesn't like free?
Everybody likes free.
Absolutely. What's up, Nick? Thanks for joining us. Hey, Jim and Karma Records, thanks for joining us.
Hey, the thread is here.
Yes. So the only way to get into this free box break today, and of course, if you're listening to this afterwards, if you shed a tear or two, we're going to be there for you next week. Because if you listen to this afterwards, you'll, of course, get some, hopefully, good humor, some decent knowledge, and a couple laughs, if we're lucky, all in the same episode here at the Loft.
Yes.
But we are giving away something that we've never done before. Hey, what's up, Chris? And we're giving away an entire box for free. And the only way to win a spot in on this break, Lou and gang, is to participate in our chat on Leighton's Loft Facebook page right now. And if you do that from now until 5 o'clock, you'll be entered on our list, and you'll get a spot into this break. If there's more than 20, we'll random off the list, and the top 20 will get a spot in the break. Right. And if you share our show, you will get 2 entries into this. So we have Dougie behind the glass. Now, Lou, just to give people some context, we're probably talking about a nice, solid $500 box that we're giving away.
Wow.
This is not a couple peanuts and an empty candy wrapper.
And what's the big pull?
Zion Williamson
Yep.
has not just his regular rookie, but autographs and inserts and number cards, Lou, that can go for upwards of thousands of dollars, depending on which one you pull.
Very nice.
Yeah, so thanks to Lynn for joining us, Jim, Gary, the rest of the gang. We do have some folks, of course, that are watching us over on Vintage Breaks YouTube channel. We appreciate that. But if you'd like to have a chance today to win, Lou, the only way to do it is to tune into the Loft on Facebook and drop a comment. Candidly, it could be about the hobby, or, for example, one of the things I was going to cover today. Lou, are you much of a grill guy?
Oh, God, yeah, I love to grill.
See, so this is great. So, Lou, I wanted to take today.
I will go out and grill.
I grill in the snow. See, Lou, I knew this is why we'd be fast friends.
Yep.
So a little grill tip from me. Hey, what's up, Lucas? To the rest of the gang is we had this last night. Now, folks marinate your chicken, right?
Yep.
But I marinate my chicken in Peter Luger steak sauce.
Ooh.
Delish.
I see. I'm more of a rub guy.
Talk to me, Lou. What's your tip for us guys out there that are collectors listening to the Loft? What's your grill tip straight from Lou's kitchen?
I rarely marinate, if at all. I rub and then use the sauce afterwards. And I got a whole bunch of rubs I've collected. And the tip is, this is probably not news to half of you out there, but the tip is coffee in your rub.
Very interesting. See, Lou, I've heard that,
Yeah.
But now I have a reason to invite myself over with Kraz when everything clears up, because I know you live in a great place up there, and we'll let you know we're coming up.
I live on the beach. Yeah, bring J5, bring Dougie.
Yeah, we're gonna have a nice little cookout. We'll test your chicken against mine. Once again, folks, this show is not just about baseball cards and collecting, but it's just about being about life and being a real person. And so last night I happened to have a delicious dinner. And what was really funny.
Okay, what the hell does this mean? Jim says I look like a dry rub guy. I don't know what that means.
The thing is, but see, we don't know where Jim's at. So Jim could already be drinking for happy hour. And by the way, we support that. If that's what suits your fancy, then by all means. Anyway, kind of getting back to center here, because you can lose your mind on the Loft real quick.
Yes.
We're going to talk about a lot of different things here, but I want to stress to the community today that if you're joining us live, once again, thank you. But second of all, we have an incredible giveaway because of our generous community and courtesy of Just Collect and Vintage Breaks filling out the rest of the box. We'll be giving away a free box break of 2019-20 Elite Basketball. And the only way to get in is to drop a comment and say hi in our chat. If you share our Leighton's Loft Facebook page and our show right now, our podcast, you'll get an extra entry. So even if we have 100, 200 names in there, whatever the case is, top 20 will get a pack, and we'll open this shortly after 5 o'clock Eastern time today.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that so much. He says it means I'm classy. New this week, by the way, we have access to the YouTube comments that we can put up here, as well as the Facebook comments. But what we're looking for this giveaway today is go over to the Leighton's Loft page, especially if you haven't liked us yet. You got to like that Leighton's Loft page for us, please.
And speaking of which, Lou, if you do like Leighton's Loft Facebook page, at the end of the show today, you'll have a chance to win Kiner's Corner, the star of it, Ralph Kiner. Rookie card PSA 3.5 from the recent collection, the Just Collect purchase. You'll be able to check out the full story on our blog at justcollect.com/blog. So the only way to win that Ralph Kiner rookie is to tune in at the end of the show today. And so I'm looking, we have about 20 minutes here before we get to the box and the opening, which of course is what vintagebreaks.com is all about, and a company that we started here just a few years ago. So Lou, one of the things I wanted to ask you directly, and I haven't done it off air, I want to surprise you on air here.
Excellent. Love
to add content to our Leighton's Loft Facebook page. Now, I'm going to hit you up for baseball. I have some people in mind for basketball. But I wanted to know for at least the next few weeks, you're right, no serious commitments. No one wants that in their life. We already have enough of those. So, Lou, for the next few weeks, would you be so kind to drop 2 types of prospects and a little bit of your baseball knowledge on our Facebook page, Leighton's Loft? One, I'd like you to mention a prospect that you think in baseball can have a direct impact on this year's season. Right? Because it's a different year. It's a 60-game season. This is not regular. People are getting caught up September the way they used to. And then, of course, Lou, all of us prospectors love to talk about the horizon. What's on tap for the future? So I was wondering over the next few weeks if you'd be so kind to drop a few names that you've been thinking about, because I love what we've done on our old Vintage Breaks PSA show, where you would reflect on something you said about Pete Alonso, 11 months before he went on a home run tirade.
Yeah, well, what happens is I have to do, when I do the Prospect Central for Fantistics and InsideOfBaseball.com, we have a free blog as well, and I usually put a little sample of that, a couple of players up on a free blog, and then post it on Facebook, and then it comes back in a memory, in one of my Facebook memories. I go, hey, I get to see what I said about this guy 2 years ago. That'll be fun. And if it works, I post it again. If it doesn't work, I kind of pass on it.
Listen, it's like, I understand. How'd you do betting on the game this weekend in the casino? I won.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, I lost some too, but I didn't really keep track exactly. But.
Oh, Brian Lewis Robert is a good one. Let me give you one that you probably shouldn't be too in on, and that's Joey Bart in San Francisco. Everyone's in on Joey Bart right now because Buster Posey opted out for the season.
Sure.
And the San Francisco catching situation is in disarray, and Joey Bart is a big power hitting prospect down there. I just don't know if they're going to be willing to throw him into a catching position. He's very limited in his high minors at bats. He's still got to learn to be a catcher. If he were just an offensive player with a first baseman who opted out, I'd be all in on Joey Bart. But I'm not sure they're ready to throw him into actual catching at this point. But with the DH over in the NL, They might keep him with the team, keep him in the rooms when they do the hitters meetings at the beginning of the series and all that stuff, and learn the pitchers. So he might have a good opportunity to accelerate his major league catching experience during this time and get a few at bats as a DH over there. So he might be interesting. I think his price is going to be too high from a fantasy standpoint, but don't rush in on Joey Bart because he's not ready to catch in the majors yet. There's a whole defensive element that they have to catch up on. Catchers are different as prospects.
And I love that Lou is talking about things from a fantasy baseball standpoint. And then you could talk about in the weeks to come, Lou, on our Loft podcast every week here on Wednesdays at 4:30, what actually translates to the baseball card world in terms of value. Because it's not necessarily equal, right? It depends on what market you play in. Power, meaning the home run hitter, is definitely sexier in terms of value to folks than someone who's hitting 315 and is a doubles guy with some speed.
Yep. So Joey Bart, in this instance, probably valuable from a baseball card standpoint because he's a good prospect. He's going to be a good player. I'm just not sure it happens in 2020. So that's where the difference in value would be right now.
Well, we appreciate the tip, Lou. Good evening or good afternoon, everybody. See, I'm used to saying good evening. What's up, Frankie? What's going on? Ken, Ben, Jeremy, Brian, and the rest of the gang. Thanks for joining us here on Leighton's Loft podcast. I want to show off, I don't know if we can show this on the main screen, Lou, this book.
Yep. Can we get up here?
So The Wax Pack by Brad, I'm going to say Brad B, Mr. Brad B. Brad is expected to join us next week live from Leighton's Loft podcast. He wrote this wonderful book called The Wax Pack, and actually has the feel of a wax pack, on the open road in search of baseball's afterlife.
What a great premise for this book. It's fascinating.
Fantastic. And you know, as a card guy, I love it, Lou. So he opened up a pack randomly of 1986 Topps baseball cards, which he did when he was a kid, but he did this as an adult. He looked up the players. He searched for them. He found them in some cases via phone, telegram, letter, internet, in person, and all of it's packed here. I just started it, so I'm hoping by next week that I'll be finished. And Brad is expected to join us next week at 5 o'clock Eastern time, all being well in the universe. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be a great interview and a great guest.
So he just decided to meet some baseball players, and the way he decided which ones he was going to meet was to open a baseball card pack and then go find them. Totally
at random. Isn't that wild?
Oh, it's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
So we're going to give away one of those books, Lou, for free next week, courtesy of Vintage Breaks and Just Collect. And, having Brad on will be fun to talk about how he arrived at it. Was he a baseball nut? Was he someone who just liked doing things at random that seemed a little bit crazy? I'm interested in hearing the story myself.
Yep, I am. Yeah, it's going to be a great interview.
Yep. So, hey, what's up, Brian? What's up, Brian? So another thing I want to talk about today on the Loft podcast, a little bit about collecting. So this happened to me, which is why I'm sharing it with you folks. So I was about to buy, it's modern, which I don't buy a lot of, but I do buy a little bit, here and there with things being as hot as they've been.
Yeah.
And so, Lou, I'm a Yankee fan, and I already have some Gleyber Torres Topps Chrome Sapphire rookies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fortunate to have a PSA 10, PSA 9, and there was a PSA 10. Hey, what's up, Dougie? Thanks for being behind the glass today here during Leighton's Loft podcast. And so I wanted to, buy another Gleyber. I thought he was a good bet. And then I'm thinking about it, Lou, you're probably talking about 1,500 in terms of the cash outlay.
Really?
And, listen, I'm not made of money,
yep.
Right? And I also want to make sure I get it right. And so what I thought about is I really like that issue, 2000 Topps Chrome Sapphire. And it's really not about the issue, and it's really not about the particular player, but it's really about a strategy. And even with someone as much experience buying and selling baseball cards as myself that I have, I still had to catch myself from making, I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but putting a little bit more risk on my portfolio than I wanted to. And
all right, so, let me ask you a question about that.
Sure, please go right ahead, Lou.
You're going to pay X amount of price for this.
Yes.
And you're hoping for a return. Because I'm thinking this is more nebulous than people think. They never get down to this nuts and bolts of thinking about it. What does Gleyber Torres have to do to raise the value of that card? I mean, is it all about being a good player? Does he have to have a brand? Does he have to carry some swagger like Derek Jeter did, or some of the guys who become more?
Sure. So I think a couple of things. First, Gleyber Torres wins the World Series with the Yankees this year, even in an abbreviated season. That's a big deal.
Yep.
Second of all, we can't really say based on
even
numbers.
as a ride-along player, I mean, if he's not he's not an out and out star on the team or not a all.
I mean, at this point, unless he completely flubbed and hit 213 and looked like he was, moving backwards, I believe that people think Gleyber Torres is a star, albeit a young star. Hey, Susan, thanks for joining us. What's up, Jim? Hey, Brad. So to answer your question directly, Lou, one of the things he could do is win a World Series title with the Yankees. Mm-hmm. Another thing in a full season, which obviously cannot happen this year, but is, win an MVP with 55 home runs, right, and 138 RBIs. Right. What I mean is, once again, you heard what I said. It's not just about winning an MVP. It's about winning an MVP with huge numbers. So another thing is hot spurts and hot starts. If Gleyber comes out of the gate, hits 8 home runs in 3 games, I'm not telling you he's a better ball player. I'm not telling you he's more valuable, but absolutely what will happen, gang, is there will be more interest on the card. That's just the way the card market works these days. It's much more instantaneous than it used to be. Yeah. If Zion goes out and he is 41 and looks all cut up from the last few months that he had off, even if the Pelicans don't make the playoffs for the next few weeks, there will absolutely be increased demand on Zion. That doesn't mean he'll have a better career. It just means for the next, short little bit. That's funny. I just saw that. Might be Gleyber's numbers against the Orioles.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Lou, there's a number of things that could happen. But what I realized is I already had thousands of dollars of exposure. Call me a collector, call me a dealer, call me late for dinner. It doesn't matter. It's still money. Meaning, my dad used to say this, hey, Late, you can have money all over. You can say it's in different piles, right? But at the end of the day, it's still money. And so my point is, Lou, I didn't want to take a bloodbath. Yep. What if Gleyber gets hurt? What if he gets caught up in a scandal, right? Because these days you can't put that past anyone, meaning taking something he shouldn't have. And I'm not suggesting he has at all. So what I decided to do was I really liked the 18 Topps Chrome Sapphire. I happen to like Ohtani. Not so much because he's a two-way player. I think he's probably going to be a better hitter than pitcher. But I really like the fact that he's an international demand for him, which you cannot say for a lot of players in the major leagues. Excuse me. So,
but Ohtani has a little Q value. I mean, everybody knows who Ohtani is, and he's a two-way player, and there was a lot of notoriety when he came in. Gleyber Torres, if you're depending on him being a 55, 140 RBI guy, I don't know if he's there. I don't know if he's there.
I was being facetious when I said that. The thing is that, if you look at Jeter's career and his stats, may be weaker than Gleyber's. So my point is, and what you're saying, it's not just stats. It's being a leader. Right. Think about the position that Gleyber plays. If Gleyber puts up great stats at the shortstop position, that's really, really valuable in baseball. It's a lot different than doing it from the left field position.
Well, Jeter was unique. And when I think of Jeter, the first thing I think of is that play in Oakland, the cutoff play to the plate.
Oh, and
he was a winner. He was a team leader. And while he wasn't a particularly great offensive player, and my contention is, I love Derek Jeter. I'm not knocking Derek Jeter at all. But if Derek Jeter played in Kansas City, for example, I don't know if he'd be in the Hall of Fame. Played for the Yankees. He was a winner. He helped out. He just had a lot of gravitas. That was Derek Jeter. So you were talking about Gleyber Torres getting off to a hot start here. So are we into timing the market on cards? In other words, is there going to be a point at the end of July, for example, the end of August, where he's sitting there with 18, 19 homers, and he's leading that Yankee team right now? Do you have a decision on whether to get out from under this card or not?
I'm sure. So it's interesting when you put it like that. So for me, Lou, I'm happy if I end up with one in the end, but I would sell off other ones over the journey and use that profit to potentially buy other cards, to buy and profit from. But what I ended up doing to diversify my risk, and that's what I was trying to kind of get at before, was I bought an Ohtani. I bought an Ozzie Albies rookie who I really like. And even though I know the Yankees don't know exactly where Miguel Andujar is going to play, I really like him and what he can do for the Yankees, especially if someone goes down. And so what I decided to do was I didn't really have much of a position in those guys, and I was able to buy a high-end version of each of those folks, PSA 10 version in the Topps Chrome Sapphire 2018 product that I really like. And so now I feel, listen, I'm also a fan of the game, right? If I wanted to just invest and be dry about everything, I could buy stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and do that till, the day is long. And so what I decided to do was try not to be emotional about my baseball card purchase making. And even though I'm always, of course, advising if you want to buy steady stuff, buy vintage, it is fun to play in the modern market, especially if you like sports, right? I'm chomping at the bit for sports to come back. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of us across the country, across the world that are really excited.
Jeff says I have an accent. Do I have an accent?
At this point, I've been talking to you for so long, I just kind of, it's natural to me. But I love that when they talk about your voice and stuff, it makes me think like 100 times over, we got the right man for the job, Lou. You already know, our community, baseball cold. And of course, we have the soothing voice and sounds of you coming from Massachusetts, which we love. Shout out to Vintage Break South and Chris Gilmore pulled a huge Zion Williamson case hit out of 2019 Court Kings today. I don't know the exact value of it, but I think it's somewhere north of $1,000 or so.
Yeah. So in the demographics of the baseball card market, and we're not talking vintage, we're talking new issues and things like this, is there a premium on being a Yankee? In other words, where's the money for this market to spend that kind of money on Gleyber Torres? In other words, if Gleyber Torres wasn't a Yankee, would he command that kind of money?
I think there's a little bit of a premium. It's a great question, Lou. There's a little bit of premium on Gleyber being a Yankee, just like if he was a Dodger or a Red Sox versus, let's say, a Milwaukee Brewer or a Florida Marlin. There's no doubt about that. But I do think that, you're still going to have to back it up. You're going to have to put up the stats. Hopefully a couple World Series titles we'll see.
Yep.
But, absolutely being in the right market. I know you're not a hoops guy, but for example, take Jason Tatum. I mean, people are chomping at the bit for him to be the next savior for the Celtics.
Right.
And if Jason Tatum was, I'm making it up, on, a smaller market team like the Thunder, the NBA is a little bit different that he could still shine. But I think because of the Celtics and their heritage and what Tatum could end up doing for that franchise, there's a little bit of a bump there, the same way there's a bump for Gleyber Torres with the Yankees.
Yeah, and in basketball, I'm guessing that's a little bit more volatile because Tatum could go into a semifinal series or a conference final this year and have a really great series and make a name for himself nationally.
Yes. Hey, nothing wrong with being a brewer. I'm a big fan of the Brew Crew. I have a hat and got some Yelich rookies in my little collection. David, more talking big market versus small market.
And I think New York is, I think there's money to spend on collectibles in New York, so they're going to go for the Yankees guys. And all this collectibles is a lot based on nostalgia and a lot based on fandom, I would imagine, right? I mean, there are some clinical investors in there, but for the most part, it's driven by your passions for the sport, right?
Yep, absolutely. So folks, I got a 5-minute reminder here. The deadline for this unbelievable free box break, courtesy of some of our amazing customers from Vintage Breaks in our community. Literally had someone call our office and say, hey, I'd like to do something fun for the community, and long story short, this is what we arrived at. So some other Vintage Breaks customers, along with Just Collect, we have now purchased this whole box. We'll be giving it away for free in just a few minutes. And the only way to qualify for a pack is to drop a comment right in our Facebook chat on our Leighton's Loft page here on Facebook. And if you share our show on Facebook, Dougie will give you an extra entry into the promo. Top 20 will get into this box in just a few minutes.
I still think there's a factor here where a player goes into a big series, whether it be a World Series or an NBA championship or a Super Bowl, has a big game, and that's going to raise his value, especially if we're dealing in this short term where you hit a market at a certain place, right? A couple weeks after a Super Bowl, a guy who has a big Super Bowl, his price might go up for a while.
Absolutely. I heard a really great conversation on another podcast that I wanted to bring up in terms of card values and stuff and how it relates to football. And so, for example, these folks were discussing Drew Lock and Sam Darnold and their quarterback values as far as cards go, not fantasy, Lou.
Right.
And was saying that for Sam Darnold, even though folks like myself, of course, but actual Sam Darnold card investors are hoping for Sam Darnold to take an uptick, see what he can do with the new management and new players and such. There's a little bit more of an unknown with Drew Lock and an excitement. So the point is that they were discussing on the podcast that if they both came out and they threw 6 touchdowns in their first game, it would actually mean a lot more for Drew Lock than it would for Sam Darnold. Because Sam Darnold kind of still has some naysayers, whereas people are ready to ride the Drew Lock train. And if he does anything at all like that, right out of the gate. And remember, in football, there's only the 16 games if the season, God willing, is regular length of games.
So what if the Jets come out and this is not the heresy that it was in the past? What if the Jets come out and win the AFC East this year?
I mean, I'd probably faint.
I mean, but Sam Darnold may be within a year or two of winning the AFC East, because I mean, Buffalo is very volatile, and Buffalo's
absolutely. And Crosby is in about 13 years of legal age of moving out of my home at 18, and we certainly would take any Jets. Forget about Super Bowl, just playoff appearances. Those are nice. I heard you guys have them regularly, like you have Thanksgiving dinner up in New England, Lou.
Oh yeah, we have Thanksgiving dinner. Yes.
Yeah, and you have plenty of playoff appearances in football to go with those Thanksgiving dinners.
But what New York is looking for right now is they're looking for the Jets to take a leap, and there's an opportunity in the AFC East for the next year or two at least for them to and just get hot, just win. That division could be won by 10 games or 9.
That's what I'm hoping. Excuse me. Yeah. See, you guys caught me. I'm supposed to be napping during the day and breaking late at night. You have the vampire coming out here. It's nice to be out during the daytime. So, folks, you just got about a minute left before Dougie behind the glass is going to cut off the entries for the free elite break. Good afternoon, Lee Chow. What's up, Tom? What's
this all about? What's Andre Agassi, Leighton?
I played tennis with Ken Gantman the other day. He's a Vintage Breaks community member. Also does not live that far from me in Maplewood. Of course, find out he's got like this unbelievable tennis line of heritage. Like his sister's a state champ. He's known at this tennis club. And I'm like, oh, my God, I'm hoping to play someone marginally better than me. Smashes me up and down the court. But we had a good time while doing it, right, Ken?
Yeah.
So, Dougie, let everyone know when the cutoff is for this giveaway just happening in a few minutes here on the Loft, our weekly podcast.
Let's bring Dougie in. Dougie, how you doing today?
What's going on?
So, Lou, while Dougie's firming up the list here, why don't you tell our listeners where they can enjoy Leighton's Loft podcast after our live version of it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, after the live version of it, we put the podcast up on our servers. Within an hour or two, they're probably up again on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. So you can listen to what you missed and get ready for next week's show, and and learn about the giveaways and learn about all the stuff you missed, right?
Yes. Like, for example, marinating chicken and Peter Luger steak sauce, which is fantastic. And I do appreciate you saying that, Ken. I held my own at least fair enough against you. We had a lot of fun. Looking forward to hitting some balls again.
So how often do you play tennis?
A couple times a week over the summer.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun.
I got a couple guys that I do podcasts with who are tennis guys. And one guy in particular, I get the whole rundown of his tennis match over the weekend when he comes in on Monday.
All right, guys, you're all cut off. I'm cutting it off right now.
That's a very serious man to cut you off, by the way. Now, Dougie, did they talk to you about Jerry Rice yet or no?
Not yet. I mean, that was a pretty sweet pull I had on Monday. So,
all right. Well, we're gonna talk about it now. Before we were gonna let the office do it, but we're gonna steal their thunder. So I get a call this afternoon, Dougie, and Lou. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Great. So, gang, we get a call this afternoon from, let's just say someone from one of the sports agencies that I deal with that help us secure folks like Dylan Carlson, who we have coming up on July 30th. Warren Moon, in the past, Pete Rose, so on and so forth. And it was a very strange request, Dougie. You wouldn't believe it. They go, well, Jerry Rice, like his people reached out to us. They wanted to know, can we retweet the tweet about the Jerry Rice rookie that you pulled?
Oh, really?
I'm like, what?
Whoa.
What are you talking about? So take that a little step further. We offered them, if Jerry's going to tweet about it or retweet about it, we're going to give away a free pack to someone in Jerry Rice's community, in social media. And we're either going to ship it to them anywhere in the world of 1986 Topps football, giving them a free chance at a Jerry Rice rookie, or we would open it up for them live on our Vintage Break show, one of the times during the week. So then, Dougie, I literally say at the end, I go, sorry, no pun intended, Anthony. It's my buddy I'm talking to, the rep, great kid that I work with. Shout out to Cogent Marketing. So And by the way, nothing's guaranteed, of course, not until the ink is
dry.
It's dry, and you see the fine, fantastic football player known as Jerry Rice to join us. So I throw out a little Hail Mary, and I say as such, I go, I don't know if this is crazy, Anthony, but like, would Jerry Rice open a pack of cards with us? He goes, well, a matter of fact, Leighton, glad you brought it up because it seems like there might be a little bit of interest. I go, listen, and I know I'm hoping that these people are not listening to us right now because it's really going to hurt our ability to get a deal done in terms of my leverage here at Vintage Breaks. But I'm like, listen, whatever you have to do, can you please try to get it done sooner rather than later? So that way we can, start sharing with everyone. So we'll keep everyone posted, but super excited.
All right, you know what I'm going to ask, right? What you have to schedule them for the Vintage Breaks right after our show and have them do an appearance on our show.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Just pop in for a couple minutes and tell us what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, I figure it's all a negotiation, Lou, right? Yep. It's like our tribal council meets with his tribal council. I get it. It's like a whole thing. All right. So special shout out to my sis. I have two sisters, Raina Lynn and Farron May. But Farron May is my younger of two sisters, and she's been helping us on Vintage Breaks Instagram account. So she's been sharing for the last several days, and one of the posts that she shared was, of course, about this 2019-20 Elite Basketball free box break happening right now. Good luck, everybody. Dougie, take it away. Should I randomize the list?
I just need you to roll the dice.
You got it. I joked with Julie, Lou, 3 times. I wanted her to say hi on the show today, so oops, I didn't realize I'm entered into the box break. Crosby wins to Zion.
All right, Leighton. Whenever you're ready, you can roll the dice, and we'll.
Yeah, 3 times you can randomize.
All right, guys. Here we go. 1, 2, and the winner. Drum roll, please. Da-da-da-dum. Donald Higginson.
Oh, Donald, excellent.
It's a top 20. It's a top 20, Doug.
Top 20. Okay.
Yeah. Top 20 get a pack.
Okay.
That's what's cool. It's a very interactive prize, Lou. So what I'm thinking, Dougie, is if you can get the list on camera, so that way I can just start breaking it, and we'll call out the names as we go.
Okay. Yep, I have the names all highlighted here. So
great. If there's a way you can get it on the screen in a little bit better fashion, I would ask J5.
Okay.
So that everyone can see their name, and enjoy.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're only going to be able to do one or the other, either the list or your break here.
All right. So Dougie, why don't you just call out the list right now? Read it off who won because it's a little small for me, and then we'll go through the break.
Okay.
So congratulations, Dougie, to.
All right, Donald Higginson.
Okay.
Lee Chow Ma. James Ector. Ernie Lamberg. Patrick Linus. Dan Blend. Robert Gramps. Chris Coe, The KO Show. Kenneth Gantman, who's Pete Sampras, I guess. Corey Frick. Todd Corpora. Brendan Quinn. Jeremy Manning. Ben DeSilva. Brian Cuffman. Gus Tangelis, Mario Morales, Andy Brentano, Gary Foster, and Brian Cuffman again.
All right. Well, congratulations, everybody. We're going to get a break in here. We're looking for a little Zion action, a little Ja Morant love right here on Leighton's Loft podcast every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Lou. Don't forget, you do have just a few minutes. Subscribe, like our Leighton's Loft Facebook page, and you have your chance at the end of the show today to win a Ralph Kiner rookie 1948 Leaf graded PSA 3.5 that recently came from our big 1948 Leaf purchase from Just Collect.
All right, Dougie, we'll bring you back in a couple minutes here.
Okay, no problem. Yep.
All right.
This is my first time seeing this product, folks. So if you're listening to this podcast afterwards, this Panini Elite, I believe, was sold directly by Panini to the public. And this is courtesy of some very, very generous community members of Vintage Breaks and Just Collect that made this free box break possible today, Lou.
All right, beyond Zion, what are we looking for?
Jean Morant, Rui, RJ Barrett, and then, autographed rookies and parallels of all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, like base LeBron James cards and inserts go for good money. Anthony Davis. All right, so Anthony Davis, I would say, would be the highlight of Pack 1.
Right.
So if we can tell everyone the order, because we don't, and I see what your point is, Lou, we're not able to do both. Right. So, Dougie, if you could tell everyone who that was for Pack 1.
Okay. All right, pack number 1 was Donald Higginson.
Who's Pack 2, Dougie?
Lee Chow Ma.
Good luck, Lee Chow. I hope we pull a monster.
There's got to be one in there.
Nothing like a free box break and pulling a little monster. These are nice looking cards. No big hit in that one, but they are nice cards. We just pulled the Giannis autograph rookie from 2013 Elite Basketball the other day, and our good buddy Darren Ravel from the Action Network tweeted about it.
Who's pack number 3, Doug?
It's James Hector.
Oh, the threat. Here we go.
Good luck, Jim.
Now we're in business.
Ooh, Drew Holiday, numbered of 99. Insert.
Pack number 4, Doug.
Pack number 4 is Ernie Lambert.
Or J5. J5's here now.
Good luck, Ernie. Lou, I really love the fact that this box break was, the whole idea was hatched from our community.
Yes.
I'm being approached by devices are only available. That's weird.
That's us, Leighton.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If one of you guys can drop, if you can drop the list of 20 people in the chat, that would help out.
That's why John's on.
Okay.
Anthony Davis.
Very nice.
Oh, at least I could read it now, which is great. So that was spot 4. That was for Ernie. Spot 5, Patrick is coming up, followed by Dan. Good luck, Patrick.
Let's see it. There you go. All right, the list is on Leighton's screen, so at least you can see it now.
Okay.
All right, spot 6 coming up is Dan. Dan B. Good luck. So folks who are listening to our podcast afterwards and not able to catch us live, if you'd like to join us on our future episodes, you can do so every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time and have a shot at some great free stuff just like this. Steph Curry, insert.
Jeremy's producing for us now. He says, can we get a replay of last night's fire track? And if we get a video beforehand, we could probably do a little replay here.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Something to look forward to going forward.
All right, next up, I believe this is spot 7 for Rob.
Good suggestion, Jeremy. We appreciate it.
AD. Fred Van Vliet, number to 49. Chris Middleton, a lot of people think he's going to step up for the Bucks alongside of Giannis.
We're almost getting to the point here where we could do our 100 live viewer thing. We're getting there.
It's funny, Lou, I can't see how many people are actually watching live.
We're in the mid-60s right now.
Oh, that's great.
It's not bad.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that for a future show.
Yep.
Thanks to everyone tuning in today. All right, good luck to Chris Coe, my good buddy out west. Thanks, of course, for your support of Vintage Breaks and our community all the time. Hope you pull a monster in here.
Logan, where have you been? You can't be late to class.
Professor Blasi has spoken.
Logan was probably out bike riding somewhere.
We got a Kim Min-Joo, rookie. I cannot say his last name particularly well. So it's MK, numbered of 299, rookie. Nice little hit for you there, Chris.
He wants us to stop breaking packs for about 10 minutes while he goes somewhere.
For his other office?
Yeah. Doug, do we know what's up next? Russell wants to know if there's a VB North show after this.
Absolutely. We are on from 5:30 until 8 o'clock tonight, guys. So Vintage Breaks North, the OG show with the OG crew.
Nice.
I'll be on late night tonight for a little bit.
Nice.
Oh yeah, last night, Lou, I committed a terrible faux pas with the sound. It was hysterical.
Oh no!
Oh, really?
My sister was watching. It was great. I talked to my sis today. She heard me talk about, which if we have a few minutes, I'm going to mention today, was unbelievably hysterical about something that happened when I was a kid or when we were kids. It's a cool looking card. I mean, not valuable necessarily, but just cool.
Oh, that's a nice shot. Yeah.
You know, Leighton, I'm not there for one night to watch your show, and it all haywire just like goes nuts. I mean, ugh.
Yep. All right, Ken, my tennis friend, that was for you. Corey, you're up next with spot 10. This should leave 10 left.
Yeah, welcome to my world. I do this 7 days a week. With all this kind of chaos going on.
All right, Corey, you're up. Good luck. There is, Nick. There's a new graded hit random and a new 1959 Topps baseball set break live on the site. LeBron James base. I mean, these are gorgeous cards. That's just the LeBron base.
I think it's worth mentioning that we got Sam into not only collecting, but you know, his love of Giannis has been developed while part of our company and community. So
Very nice.
All right, Todd, you're up here, spot 11. Hoping for, there we go. Donovan Mitchell, numbered of 99. Jason Tatum.
How good is Jason Tatum?
Oh, he's very good.
really good.
Yeah, no, he's legit.
Is he a top 5 NBA player?
Not yet, no.
Not yet.
No, not
Could
yet.
be. He could be.
What's his ceiling? Top 5 NBA player?
Yeah,
or
he could
top
be.
10?
He could be. Definitely be a top 5, top 7. All right, Brendan, your free pack is coming up next.
And we got the giveaway of the Ralph Kiner coming up soon.
Yep, that's going to be the end of the show.
10 more minutes, guys. 10 more minutes if you want to get on that.
So if anyone who's watching right now hasn't liked Leighton's Loft on Facebook, go like it now and get involved, and you could win a Ralph Kiner on this show right now, right in front of us.
This is nice. Number 35, Okiki rookie.
Do you love me? Sorry.
That's a nice free hit there for, I think that was Brendan. Oh, it's on the screen. Oh my goodness, it's fantastic.
You can thank J5 for that one.
Very nice.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 left. So Jeremy is up now. Good luck, Jeremy. So Lou, I'm talking on the show last night, and between the sound faux pas, and then I wanted to tell a story about growing up my household. I wanted to remember this kid's good. Rookie was a couple years ago. Bam. I talked to my sister today if she remembered it. She totally did, Lou. So Ben, you're up next. We were the fucking word. We were like just the devil in our household, Lou. We would take these towels and we would go into my sister's room, my brother and I.
Yep.
And we would throw them at their heads or their bodies and scurry back to our room. But I can hear it just like it was yesterday, my mom's piercing voice. What's going on up there? What the hell are you kids doing? I wanted to do it today on the podcast. I didn't really get into the full moment yesterday, so I'm hoping my sister is listening.
So how many kids and where were you guys in the birth order?
So I was the oldest. The oldest of 4. My brother was the next oldest, and then my 2 sisters. And so really we just wreaked havoc on the household. I was going to ask today if we had time, Lou, because I got a special prize that you can pick out by the end of the show.
Yep.
I want to know, what was like the wildest kind of game you played, whether it be in your house or around your house, meaning your backyard as kids?
Yep.
So I can tell you, we played Double Dare when my parents allowed me to start babysitting. I mean, and we were fucked up, Lou. I would spray ketchup lick at my sister's face, right? Because you lost the challenge. It wasn't just, to be fair, like spraying it in her face. like, you'd have to do something. If you didn't do it we'd have a stopwatch.
Yep.
And if you didn't do it under a certain amount of time, and like, there's just no way when my parents came home, they didn't know something was up. Because even if you cleaned it up, man, that fucking stench with just like the combination of mustard, like, breadcrumbs and mayo, like, it's just not something you ever forget. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that today, and a little shout out to my sisters. I'm sorry for torturing guys. I love you dearly. They're both amazing parents. And the fact that they still talk to me and they love me is fantastic because we abuse them.
It wasn't an ongoing game, but my sister and I got into something once, and she was in the kitchen and she opened the kitchen window. I was in the backyard and she squirted the sink hose at me. And not to be outdone, I fired up the backyard hose and squirted it back into the kitchen. It was an ongoing war too. There was a lot of water damage in the kitchen.
Yeah, see, that's what happened with Double Dare, is because what happens is like emotion gets involved.
Yep.
So like, even though it's fair, right? Try telling my sister I squirted her 17 times in the face, did not get revenge. So of course I'm like walking away and she clocks me in the fucking head with a tomato, and it's really hard to blame her.
Yep. Nope. No.
So,
it just escalates. Everything escalates, right?
Oh man, but I do miss those days, and this is the truth of it. It really is, Lou and gang. Who the hell knew that those were the good times? Like, that was the real good shit. I mean, if you would have told me that, it would have been a lot better off growing up. But I'm glad I know it now. I'm enjoying the heck out of being Crosby's dad. And by the way, folks, obviously this is a I don't know what it's rated, our podcast, but we drop a couple F-bombs here and there. But that's the way life is, right? You got to do that sometimes.
Yeah, it's an adult hang. We're getting together and having a hump day hang here and trying to have some fun with everybody. We appreciate always everybody who comes along for the ride. We love it. That's one of the things I love about doing these shows and the old Vintage Breaks on PSA show. Community is great, and we just have a great time with everybody yakking at us here.
Oh, this is great. I'm looking at the responses, Lou, so I'm going to leave it up to you. So like Donald, I didn't quite torture my sisters with rubber band fights. That sounds pretty painful.
Well, we can do better than that, can't we? Somebody out there had to have something. What's the worst thing you ever did to your sibling?
I can tell you what I did to myself. I wanted to see if the hairspray and the matches thing was like a real thing.
Oh no!
So I sprayed it in the toilet, and needless to say, I like syringed my face, like my hair, and like I messed up my parents' bathroom.
I've got one like that. My next door neighbor and I, we went out into the woods because we lived in kind of a suburban end of the town we were on. We went out in the woods and we found every piece of garbage in the woods that we can that had some liquid in it, and we put it into a fishbowl. And we brought the fishbowl back, and we decided, we looked at what do we do now?
Nice hit.
My buddy looks at me and goes, "Hey, what if we see if we can light it on fire?" And I was at that age. I said, "Sure, let's." He dropped a match in it. And it was like a Zambuca fire where you couldn't see it. It was lit, but you couldn't see it. And I was kind of disappointed with that. And I goes, let me see if I can rev it up. And I leaned over and I blew on it. And I lost both my eyebrows. How bad it was.
Lou, would you consider doing that, for charity this year? Like maybe coming on one of our shows?
If it's a Zambuca fire, yes. I'll be in.
Oh man, I tell you, Lou, I was really looking forward to this week's show, and now I know why. You could just kind of cut it loose on here.
Yeah,
it's great. We really appreciate everyone joining us here. Obviously, we're a couple goofballs just hanging out. Hopefully, to everyone's enjoyment.
Oh, poor Donald. Donald, what happened to you? Donald says he was the youngest of 8 brothers. He must have some stories.
Oh, if you're the youngest of 8, I can only imagine the hate.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, this is great. I never had a potato gun, but I wanted one.
Yeah, I made a potato gun. Sure.
All right, let's try to. We got a couple autographs so far. We're gonna see if we can pull a nice Zion or Ja here with a few packs to go. So 3 packs left. Good luck to Andy, Gary, and Brian. Little last pack mojo here.
Oh no, James Ector says he once hooked up jumper cables to my sister's ears. No, they weren't connected on the other end, were they, Jim?
I'm like, Jim, I don't know if we can have him participate anymore. Like, is he on the run? Like, I hope he didn't harm his sister permanently.
Are you familiar with the Fifth Amendment, James?
My lovely wife, Julie, just started watching the new Unsolved Mysteries, and I say to her, shit, wait, these are real problems and they're not solved? Like at least the old ones, like 83% of these guys have been caught. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So Jim, are you outing yourself? Like, are you on the run?
Logan says he told his brother to stick a fork in the wall, in his wall outlet. And
oh my God.
predictably, it shocked the crap out of him.
You know, that's a really good perspective. There's some Luca love there. That's some good perspective, Donald, that like we all somehow came out on the other side. Like we're all here today to tell the story. And for that, man, really thankful to be part of this group, Lou. Really thankful that, you pushed me to kind of get this whole little Loft podcast experiment started. Yeah. And now really look forward to it every Wednesday. So thank you.
Brian says, we siphoned gas to go to town, split some of me with 20 minutes later. My brother wondered if it would still light. It burst into flames, almost caught the house on fire, and her dad threw him through the front door into the snow. In retribution, Brian, or was he trying to save you from the fire?
Boys will be boys.
All right, good, Jim. That's good.
All right, Ken, I wouldn't have shared that one, but that's
Jamal Murray, numbered of 75. One more pack. Monty, so my wife's into it. She wants me to start watching with her because she wants me to solve the fucking mysteries. I'm like, listen, I already run 2 businesses to take care of our son. I'm trying to play tennis and ride my fucking bike. I don't have enough time other than take a shit. I'm serious. This is the truth.
All right. Arnie E222 is giving us a recipe for a potato gun, so that's good.
Let me tell you, if we're able to have a little barbecue, our buddy Harry was talking about putting one together. If we put one together, we absolutely need to have like a Vintage Breaks field day. Like I'm going to close my eyes right now, Lou. I'm featuring like potato sack race, potato gun competition, lighting stuff on fire competition.
Well, you know what we can do here with this platform that we're using right now is that guys can come in on the show. Our listeners can come in on the show. We can get them into the studio. So if someone wants to put on a potato gun demonstration, we can have it on live here.
So my wife's watching. There's like some movie, Jason Bateman, something else. The beginning scene is Jason Bateman gets shot. Actually, the first time they do it clean, he's trying to pick off like a can on top of his head. Second shot, they get his ear with a potato gun, and he has to go to the hospital. He's bleeding profusely. I'm really into potato guns now. Like I kind of want to build one and shoot one with Crosby.
I just watched one of the unsolved mysteries. I think it was it episode 2 or I'm not sure what
the old one, Lou, or the new one? Okay.
With the UFO incident in the Berkshires up in Massachusetts. I watched that one.
Interesting.
Because that was a story I hadn't heard.
So thanks for all the wonderful feedback here on Leighton's Loft podcast today. That concludes our free break. Don't forget, next week, all being well, we're going to have Brad on, the author of The Wax Pack. That's going to be a lot of fun to learn about how he chose, his journey with 86 baseball and why he chose that fashion as opposed to just researching the guys that he wanted to meet.
Oh, I think we got a candidate to give us the potato gun demonstration.
Really?
Arnie.
Excellent.
Won't be next week, but let's line this up. If someone can go out,
we're looking like a few weeks out now. We're starting to be like Saturday Night Live. We need a few weeks to get you in the rotation, but I think we can do it. Really, folks, this is a blast today. I want to make sure, as a reminder, what do I do with Mr. Kiner?
Wait a second. What RNE 222 for you? I need your first name.
That's Arnie.
That's Arnie.
Arnie Chura.
Yeah, it's Arnie Chura.
Arnie's a pyro guy too, which means I love him automatically.
That's just great.
I love pyro.
Oh my God. I love that Ryan Kyle is he's flat out like he just told me I'm literally going to take a snapshot with my phone right now. Like this is all I need to do. By the way, Ryan, if there's any issues, I'm going to be, this is video proof. You are the reason and how we're going to be building the potato guns.
James, finish that book for us. The author is on next week. We're going to talk to him next week.
Great, James. So here you go, folks. We're going to give this away in just a minute. Dougie, why don't you cut off the list in a minute so that way we can be fair to the gang. Vintage Breaks North is going live in just a few, and they can only go live till 8 tonight. I'll be live about 10:30 tonight from the Loft, unless I talk to Gilmore. He wants to go live in between.
All right, David, how is that not an Irish cannon? Why is a potato gun a Polish cannon? It's got to be an Irish cannon.
All right, Dougie, let's get the list rocking.
All right, roll the dice, and I'm ready to go.
Great. So once again, folks, the only way to win, and you'll have future possibilities to win some cool stuff, But the only way to win this Ralph Kiner was to be on the list of folks who like our Leighton's Loft Facebook page.
And we're trying to grow the page. So everybody, if you don't like the Facebook page on Leighton Law yet, please go over and like it. You're kind of out for this week, but please go over and like it first.
Yes, please do.
Absolutely. Don't forget Dylan Carlson from the St. Louis Cardinals, their top prospect, joining Vintage Breaks and the gang July 30th, Thursday at 8 p.m. There'll be signed baseballs as part of the promo. He's going to be talking about his experience in the minors, going to the majors, who he most admires. I want to find out if anyone pulled any pranks on him yet. Got a lot of good questions lined up for him.
Ben, Irish don't waste potatoes. That's true, Ben. Hadn't thought of that. That's true.
Hey guys, that's the number
Cosby
17.
and we love shooting pumpkins. We do the pumpkin toss or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Man, he got so big now he doesn't like when I help him. So it's kind of scary because like there's a few times where the pumpkin like grazes his head because he doesn't quite get it yet.
Yep.
All right, Dougie, we're going to randomize the list right now 9 times, courtesy of Dougie Fresh.
All right.
Just Collect and Vintage Break. Someone's going to win this Ralph Kiner right now. Thanks, everybody.
All right, here we go, guys.
Good luck, everybody.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Dougie's very serious about this, if you can't tell.
5,
That's true, Steve. Yeah, after the potato famine, we were done.
6.
Oh, no. David McCann has an
7.
electric ignition on his...
So, Lou, can you pick a winner? I have a surprise gift or gift for the most interesting, story you had from what folks were doing as a child right here on the Leighton's Loft Facebook page.
Yeah, I got a guy.
All right, and the winner of that gorgeous Ralph Kiner card is Kevin Struss. Kevin Struss, congratulations. You are taking home that 48 leaf Ralph Kiner PSA 3.5.
Congratulations, Kevin.
Congratulations.
It's from the fresh collection that we recently purchased on behalf of Vintage Breaks. Of Just Collect. All right, so Lou, who are you thinking is going to win this special prize?
I think Brian Cuffman is going to win this special prize. He had a couple.
What Brian was sharing about his childhood.
He had a couple ones in there, but the latest one was he used to take lead out of 22 shells and put them on the stove to scare his sister, which is.
And Brian, and please, I could be wrong, and if I am, apologize. I think Brian he's from a different time than me. And what I mean is, like, it sounded like a really fun time. I don't think I was getting away with that in my time.
Yeah, no.
So if I had to guess, Brian's a little bit older.
Did you have 22 shells around in New Jersey all that much?
I had $22. I had 22 peanuts. I had 22 baseball cards. Yeah, the guns, outdoorsy kind of stuff. Yeah, outdoor stuff for us was, I would play baseball, enjoying Little League and stuff was great, but we weren't going rafting, and I asked to tent in the backyard. He's like, it's tent in the basement. It's fine. Do that.
All right, Doug, we appreciate your help today. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, take care, guys.
All right. So what's the special prize?
So Brian is going to win a free spot courtesy of Lou. We'll just take it out of your end, Lou.
Okay.
I try and say it with a straight face.
I had a free something going on here. I didn't even know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to give away a free spot in our 1959 Topps baseball set break, courtesy of Vintage Breaks. We just listed it today. Chance at a Bob Gibson rookie, Mickey Mantle 59 Topps card, Clemente, Koufax, Aaron. The list goes on and on. Courtesy of the gang here, Brian. Lou has selected you as our winner. You're getting a free spot in our 1959 Topps baseball set break that we just listed today at vintagebreaks.com. And Lou, that's all I have on my end. I had a blast today here at Leighton's Loft. Thanks for joining us.
Great time. It's starting to feel like the old show. We're getting a lot of our old friends back here. Everybody's active, talking, having some fun, having a few laughs. That's what we're after. Thank you, everybody, for showing up, and like the page and come back next week. And by the way, go subscribe on your podcast service to Leighton's Loft as well.
Yep. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next week.